And I do want to talk about Doge in just a little bit, but before I get there, the White House's rapid response team responded to your statement, and they essentially trolled you on X, posting a meme that said, "I ain't reading that. I'm happy for you," or "Sorry, that happened." What are your thoughts on their response?
Trolls are a part of life in this social media world that we are in. I don't know how many of those folks are real, but I certainly know that the constituents that I talk to every day in my district are real. And they're talking to me about protecting workers, about making sure that when they're calling about their health insurance or their benefits or their social security payments, or their Section 8 vouchers, that there is somebody at the end of the line to answer their call and help them. I have a district office. We've been doing Doge in my office. We've actually returned hundreds of thousands of dollars back to constituents because we have been on the phone working on their behalf to get them their money back. That's what constituents want to get from government, not rapid response clapbacks from the administration because they don't like what a member of Congress is saying. And let's be clear, members of Congress represent their constituents. And so I'm listening to mine every single day.
You saw a really big divide if you were looking at the chamber between Republicans and Democrats on Tuesday night. And some Democrats were protesting by wearing pink. Some were protesting like yourself by walking out. Others had signs that said save Medicaid, things about Elon Musk, protect veterans, those types of messages. Congressman Al Green, he did protest, probably the loudest. He was telling Trump, "You don't have a mandate." He did eventually get kicked out. Other Democrats were annoyed at the protests and sat there looking somber, but did not say anything. Was there some sort of strategy going in about the protests? Was there a talk about it before and after? What was the consensus?
The wonderful thing about the Democratic Party is that it is a big tent party and there are lots of voices that are in it. I don't think the story is Al Green's protest or even the Democrats and the colors that we wore or the protests that happened. I think the story should remain what Donald Trump talked about and what he didn't talk about. He did not talk about lowering the cost of eggs. He did not talk about how the tariffs are actually going to be good for the American people. He did not talk about creating more jobs. He did not talk about protecting Social Security. He did not talk about protecting Medicaid. He did not answer to why he thinks it's okay to fire 80,000 veterans from the VA. He has not talked about the importance of our standing around the world. He has not talked about why it's important for us to be good allies to our neighbors and our friends. And so I don't care what color somebody wears. I care about what the president is saying when it comes to how to keep us safe, how to keep us employed, and how to keep us free to innovate. And none of those things came across at that joint address.
I know that Democrats have received some criticism over some protests. Rachel Bade, who's Politico's Capitol Bureau Chief, she wrote a column entitled "Fighting Trump Requires Focus. Democrats Didn't Show It." And this is part of it. By making a scene, members became the story, but also become an easy target. And more importantly, they take the focus away from where their party wants it. In this case, on Trump proudly owning his most controversial policies. What do you think of that criticism?
Well, I think that Congress is comprised of Republicans and Democrats, and the story should be why Republicans are yielding congressional authority to the president. The story should be the merging of the judicial, executive, and legislative branches. Those three branches, keeping them co-equal, is what allows us to be a democracy. When they crumble, you have a dictatorship or authoritarianism, and I don't think anyone went to the polls in November to vote for a king. The story should be making sure that we have oversight over what this administration is doing. The reason why you're seeing so many district town hall meetings in Republican districts where constituents are saying, "Hey, who is Elon Musk to Donald Trump? Why does he have so much control of our information? Why does it look like he's the one making decisions? Why does it look like he's the one that are telling cabinet secretaries what to do?" I mean, those questions should be the stories that we're digging into. I think folks like to talk about Democrats. Quite frankly, there are bigger issues for us to be discussing rather than, what color somebody wore for a joint address.